All right, welcome back. We have our intermediate, mild, and moderate teacher today. This is the world famous Liz Crow. Liz, welcome to our podcast. You are episode 16. How do you feel about that?
That's quite the impressive intro there, Mr. Miller. I don't know that I live up to that, but I will try.
All right, so not everybody in our school community knows Mrs. Crow because she doesn't work with all of our students. She works with a select few. So people would like to know, how did you get your start in education?
I always thought I wanted to be a special education teacher. So when I got out of high school, I was going to go to UNC, which was very big in education community back when I went to school a million years ago. And then I kind of decided I needed to do some other things first. But eventually I just worked my way through several jobs and got a job as a para-educator in Cherry Creek. And within 2 days I knew that I was supposed to be a teacher. So worked my way through an education program, and here I am in my 14th year as a learning specialist.
That's amazing that you've put that in and you graduated about 14 years ago. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So not all the kids that you work with are really excited to be at school and really love school. So how do you motivate the unmotivated?
I build in chances for success, and every little baby step that we make, every little bit of growth that we have, I make a big deal out of it and celebrate it. I also try and find things that sometimes are extrinsic motivators for kiddos because some of them they don't care about school, and so they will work for those external rewards, whether it's a piece of candy or computer time or time to have lunch with a favorite adult, things like that, and then just keep working on building positive ideas around schoolwork and how they can be successful even with stuff that comes hard.
And sometimes that is a long process.
Yes.
Long process. So even though you've only been a teacher for 14 years, what is the worst teaching advice you have ever received?
Actually, it wasn't so much advice as just witnessing things during my internships, being in various schools throughout the metro area and watching teachers do what they do and looking around at rooms that were just saturated with things. They were all educational, but I don't have problems with focus and attention. However, in these classrooms I did, because they were so overstimulating that I found myself just wigging out, and I thought, if they're impacting me, they have to be getting to some of the kiddos in the room. And so it was more of a learn by observation thing where I know that I like to keep my room sort of minimal, a lot of organization because I'm very green in Emergenx profile, but not too many things going on in my room at the same time because I do work with students, a lot of them who are easily distracted.
Yeah, and I think our kids appreciate that as well. So a lot of our listeners don't know you are a fascinating person both in the school and also out of school. So one of the things that I'm sure they'd love to hear is, if you are not a teacher, what other profession would you like to attempt?
Can I have two answers?
You can have two answers for that.
So for many years, I thought I wanted to own my own record store. I worked in a mom and pop record store for about 12 years, Wax Trax, if anyone knows it. And I wanted to own my own store. Of course, the music industry then took a turn in a different direction with the advent of MP3 players, and so that dream kind of died. But I still think about it sometimes. My current wish is, I think about this every summer, I'd like to have my own landscape business. I love flower gardening and just spending time outside digging in the dirt and watching things grow, and that fills my bucket.
Yeah, it's amazing because she also takes that same attitude with her kids. It's almost like that same gardening mentality. You have a lot of patience, and then you have to kind of reap what you sow with your kids and watch them grow as well. I think that's interesting. And then for those of you millennials out there, Wax Trax was a record store, which is basically Spotify in a brick and mortar building. Just so you know. And I too have been to Wax Track, so we're dating ourselves on this one. That's for sure.
It's still in existence.
That's
it still
true.
Is.
That is a true fact. All right, so this is our last question. You made it all the way to the end. So again, thinking about how hard you work at school, how do you then recharge so then you come back as your positive, happy self every Monday?
So I like to do flower gardening. I also read a lot of science fiction, and my boyfriend and I go to a lot of science fiction conventions, as you know, Mr. Miller. We recently attended the World Science Fiction Convention in San Jose, California, and that is my third World Science Fiction Convention, and I hope to go to the one in 2020, which is in New Zealand. And we also like to go to lots of concerts, which we went to Grand Doozy this last weekend. And yeah, so music, gardening, and science fiction. Those are my biggies.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show. I know you're a busy lady, so you don't want to take any more of your time. And like I said, if you get a chance to stop and talk to Liz, she is a fascinating person. You can talk about education, but then there's always so much more. So again, thanks for being on the show. You never know who we'll have next week, so we'll see you next time.